Mashed's sister site, the Takeout, filled up a shopping bag with packs of all beef, turkey, and plant-based hot dogs to test which cooking methods were the best and which were the worst. Some of the results were surprising, many were delicious, and others, well, we'll never speak of again.
We take this shame to our graves.
This video is based on an article by Michael Palin on the Takeout. Pigs in a blanket have the most prep time, as you need to slice the dogs into pieces and individually wrap them with dough. I recommend the canned crescent rolls from Pillsbury if you want to spice things up further before baking. Shake a dash of everything but the bagel seasoning on the dough. The cooking is very straightforward, as you lay the pigs on a tray and pop them into the oven to bake for 12 to 15 minutes at 375 Fahrenheit. You can tell when they're done based on the browning of the dough. When ready, they'll be piping hot, and it will be super hard to resist eating them right away. The dough is now a tad flaky, but soft and delicious. As for the hot dogs, the oven method ensures they will cook evenly and have a nice lean crunchiness to them, as well as a welcoming, smoky taste. Pigs in a blanket are the most crowd-pleasing way to eat hot dogs, as both the young and the old can agree on their deliciousness. They're perfect hors d'oeuvres to serve for the big game or even a kid's birthday party. With their small stature, they also are fun to dip in an array of ideal hot dog condiments. Also, if you used tinfoil or parchment paper on your baking tray during cooking, cleanup is a cinch. This is easily the best way to enjoy hot dogs.
I wanted to eat a pig in a blanket. In a blanket.
Visually, nothing tops the grill cooking method. All those charred grill marks are a badge of honor for the dogs, and those earned stripes add a fun texture when gobbling up the final product. The outdoor grill requires flipping the hot dogs to even out the marks, but a dual-sided indoor grill can press the dog from two sides to save time. When I pressed down on my dogs, they actually let out an audible steamed scream. After they quieted down, the dogs had a nice crisp exterior to them and a smoky, full flavor within. That was certainly true for the beef and turkey dogs. As for the plant-based ones, the grill certainly helped to sell their look and brought a bit of crispiness to the skin, but grilling couldn't save the interior from tasting like mush. This method requires the most cleanup, as the dogs sometimes stick to the grill, leaving char bits behind. Still, sometimes a little extra effort goes a long way. While we all dream of having a deep fryer in our home kitchen, one can still get pretty close to the cooking experience with a pot or pan filled with oil on a stovetop. This method for cooking hot dogs is a recipe for messiness and for possibly getting burned from the popping grease. I thought I'd have to turn the dogs over often to get them evenly cooked, but being surrounded in the oil ended up doing all the work for me. The dogs were done in a matter of minutes. Out of all of the cooking methods, these fried hot dogs were the crispiest, with the most appetizing color. From there, it's love at first bite for both the beef and turkey dogs, as the frying created the best combination of texture and flavor. The lightly fried skin had an excellent crispiness to it, very enjoyable to eat. Like with the grill, the interior meat is both smoky and juicy. The frying certainly helped the plant-based one to be as good as it could possibly be, but in the end, even frying couldn't save it. The only problem with this method is working with oil. If you avoid getting burned, in the end you still have to deal with disposing of the oil. If you're only cooking a few dogs, it may not be worth all the greasy effort. However, for some, grease remains the word. The key to microwaving hot dogs calls for either wrapping them in a wet paper towel or the method I went with, placing them in a covered, microwave-safe dish with half cup of water. Heat them for at least 90 seconds. Seeing my 3 dogs sitting in the water reminded me of boiling them on a stove, and the results would soon tell if they were on par. In no time, the dogs were done, and a beautiful smell emanated from the microwave. It was perhaps the one method where the smell was more omnipresent than with the others. The microwave gave the beef and turkey dogs a nice reddish-brown color, although somehow it didn't change the color of the plant-based one whatsoever. Once I toweled them off from their water tray, I took a nibble of each. I couldn't believe the results, as the meat ones had a great juiciness to them, and the skin held up pretty well. They were somehow better cooked this way than they were by boiling them, so why waste the extra time? The microwave does allow the dogs to come out barking hot. But be warned, the heat is fleeting, and these will quickly turn cold if not devoured right away. Toasting hot dogs isn't a very common practice, but that doesn't mean you can't. For my taste test, no real preparation was needed, although to keep the juices in place and avoid any hot dog liquid dripping onto the heating element of the bottom, a sheet of tin foil is recommended. For the beef and turkey dogs, I set their toasting level to shade 4 on my toaster oven, which equated to 4 minutes of toasting time. After that, they had reddened up, but didn't look fully cooked, or even all that toasty, so I gave them 2 more minutes of toast time. The beef ones held up pretty well after 6 minutes, with minor browning of its skin. The turkey ones didn't fare as well. Both sets of dogs had a real nice grill-like smokiness to them. They smelled great. As for taste, they all had a nice and soft chewiness and retained an excellent level of juiciness within. The beef really excelled in this method to deliver a full-flavored tasting dog, but with no real mess. And now, on to the worst ways to cook your hot dogs. One of the most common and basic ways to cook them is boiling them in a saucepan over a gas or electric stovetop. Make sure your water level far exceeds the height of your dogs, although no amount of water could keep these plant-based dogs down, as they kept floating up during the process. Flame level and cooking time will vary per stove, but an even medium-level heat and 10 to 12 minutes will get you edible hot dogs. Underwater, the dogs looked like someone's fingers were soaking for a manicure, and worse, reminded me too much of the dirty dogs one can order up from a cart in Times Square. Once they're done, they require a paper towel to dry off. The dogs continue to have a wet, shiny look to them, even long after they've left their bath. One positive note I will say about the boiling method is that you'll get a consistently cooked hot dog from one rounded end to the other. Eating these dogs instantly proved that this method does no real service to them. They are lumpy and chewy, which is not what anyone is looking for with each bite. Sure, the flavor of the meat is retained, but if you have any interest in enjoying the skin, that idea gets thrown out the window. The casing is a non-factor in the final taste.
You know, I don't have to sit here and be insulted like this.
Air fryers are quite the modern marvel, making quick work of cooking a variety of items, with delicious results. Because deep frying hot dogs comes with greasy baggage, one might think an air fryer would achieve similar results with less of a mess. I laid beef, turkey, and plant-based dogs on the meshed metal fry basket, set the temperature for 400 Fahrenheit, and monitored them for the next 6 minutes. While the dogs physically had a nice color to them, the results looked like they had just been boiled in water. Well, that wasn't exactly the case for the plant-based one, whose casing couldn't handle the heat and formed a bubble that resembled a toe blister.
Oh, gross! Gross!
The other dogs' casings had a little bit more crispness to them than the boiling method, but the air fryer still created a separated looseness. If you're not really into the casing, your best bet may be to peel it off from the interior meat. Overall, the dogs came out hot, a little dry on the outside, and a bit too mushy on the inside to make this a worthy way to cook them. A flat-top grill is a common sight at restaurants to cook up hot dogs and an option not often taken at home. A flat griddle pan or griddle maker machine works wonders for pancakes at home, so hot dogs should be able to find similar success, right?
Nope.
Like with a double-sided indoor grill, hot dogs can be cooked quicker with a flat-top griddle by pressing down on them. The flat pan method takes a little more time, but the results are the same. Where a grill provides pattern marks to give the dog both a fun appearance and welcome texture, the griddle imprints full-bodied char marks on the hot dogs. The griddle can also push the skin to bubble up a bit. Neither helps to sell this method visually. Despite their cooked look, the dogs almost tasted uncooked. The interior meat was juicy, but the flavor it created didn't hit the required mark. The one positive is that griddles are super easy to clean.
You eat it raw?
Yeah, why not?
Dear God.
I'm not sure anyone would need to eat uncooked hot dogs, but some circumstances may warrant it, like loss of electricity and gas. By nature, hot dogs are already fully cooked, and all other methods are just heating them up. Alas, it is highly recommended for health reasons to not eat them raw. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's website notes, those at increased risk of foodborne illness should reheat hot dogs and luncheon meat until steaming hot before eating, due to the threat of listeriosis. For this test, I removed the dogs from the refrigerator and let them sit out for an hour to reach room temperature. Still, they remained pretty chilled after all that time. I started with the beef one. It had a firm chewiness to it, like you're almost eating something between a less rigid Slim Jim and a soft salami. Eating the turkey one actually tasted more like turkey than the beefy hot dog it's trying to pass itself off as. As there is no browning of the turkey dog's casing in this method, you just have to get over the fact that color will remain an unappealing yellowish white color. The plant-based dog had a similar chewy consistency to the others, but the innards fell apart the moment my teeth met them, making it nearly impossible to enjoy.